ASP Russell joins me on the set for the latest installment of Police and You, a very interesting talking point today, and we will get into the details. But before that, let me offer, as always, good morning and greetings. Yes, you know, manners before man, right? Or manners make it man, as they say. So, good morning to you, officer. Great to see you.
Good morning, Mr. Williams, and good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, on behalf of the Commissioner of Police, Deputy Commissioners, Assistant Commissioners, and First and Second Division Officers of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Hope all as well.
Yes, indeed. You know, I saw the very somber send-off for your colleague this week. We continue to offer condolences in that regard.
Indeed.
And I've seen that Officer Meister. I had him on the set, actually, and he seems to be charged, rested, and, well, rested first because he was on vacation.
He was on vacation, yeah.
So he's back out now, charged up, and he's going to... I know he's a serious man. He says he would have been in the service since he was 18 years old. So this is all he knows, right? And I guess there is that particular responsibility on his shoulder to bring back that level of accountability and transparency within the municipal police service. Is it... How does the service feel about, obviously, the appointment, and is there that sense of optimism to turn it around?
Well, let me, on behalf of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, and we're in the heart of the Vice President of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Social and Welfare Association, we want to congratulate Mr. Meister on his appointment #1, and all the other supporting officers that received appointments. We see Mr. Meister, we know that he will do well there. He has the experience, having worked in the police academy and other places, being a division commander and stuff like that. We know he has a wealth of experience, and he will go there and he would marry the principles of the TTPS, tweak it to suit what is there at the municipal police teams throughout, because he's the assistant commissioner overall.
Yes.
So it means Point 14, all the boroughs, Port of Spain, Arima, Tunapunapiaco, all the boroughs. So we look forward to that improved accountability and management as it pertains to not only the firearms and ammunition that were issued to the municipal police, but with respect to their functions and their operational capability going forward. So we look forward to good things. You know, it's sad to see that it took something like this for proper transparency and accountability to kick in, but persons have to understand that there is a separation between the functions and the powers of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, for which the Commissioner of Police has complete oversight, and the structure that exists at municipal police, because I know all we see is grey and blue, but the structures are different. Who pays the salaries are different. Who hires the training, etc. That's also we have parliament police and stuff like that. There is a difference.
Even the line minister, I mean, this was such a big learning curve. So many of us was basically learning. I mean, obviously uni service, so you would know.
Yes.
But this was able to create a bigger conversation. So I think there is that deeper understanding now as to the separations, because even last week when he explained that the officers positioned by the parliament, that's a next different layer.
Yeah,
I had no idea. So happy to know. I want to ask you, as we get ready for the first break, and we're going to come back with Police and You, because we want to expand on today's talking point. Parties to crime, is that what they call aiding and abetting? If let's say somebody have a little something and I holding it for them, am I in the same hot water as the person who gave me this hot tool?
Right. So yes, we will be speaking about aiding and abetting as well, and about the roles that you play when it comes to parties to crime, joint enterprises under the criminal law.
So officially, what is parties to crime? Because when I hear that, I think of aiding and abetting, but parties to crime is something different.
It's similar. You know, it's just different wording of it. But let's simplify it. Let's say you and one of your good friends plan to do a robbery. You might be the person who actually goes inside and commit the robbery. So you are the principal offender. But the other guy is the getaway driver. he is also responsible for the robbery.
Joint enterprise.
Joint enterprise. Let's say during the robbery, you decide to use some force and you hit one of the victims. You are now going to be charged for robbery with violence.
Even if I didn't do the
Hold on. You hit the victim. You are the principal offender, so you are inside committing the robbery.
Right.
You hit the victim during the robbery. So now it escalates to robbery with violence. He can also be charged for robbery with violence as well. Just the person who drives the car. And if as a result of hitting the person, they fall and they die, it escalates to murder. That person outside, the getaway driver, can also be charged for murder.
Well, I want you to stick the pen, and when we come back after the news, I want you to elaborate some more as to how the law is able to come up with that particular justification and why, obviously, being a party to a crime or aiding and abetting, it makes no sense. So that's really the major talking point, to not become a party to a crime. Officer Russell here with me as we continue the discussion after 7. So we continue, parties to a crime, that's the talking point, aiding and abetting.
Joint enterprise.
Joint enterprise, as we would have said, and it's a very important talking point, and it's one where, for those looking on, let's not only soak in the information, but pass it on to family and friends who might just, even if they glance at the wrong direction, let them understand how serious this is, because I was bringing some examples to the table. So let me bring a scenario in here, Officer Russell. If someone is, let's say, in a household and there's a hot item there and they're holding it, they're keeping it there. Sometimes family members might not even know, but I've heard of scenarios where when the police come and do their search and they find the item, the illicit item, is everybody getting shaken down and going down to the station?
Okay, so we're looking at two things, two factors come into play: the actus reus, which is the act itself, and the mens rea, which is the guilty mind. So you may find the item in the house, right? And based on where the item is found is also something, right? If there is a hot item, let me say a phone, on the center table where everybody generally have access to.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's coming like you know.
And nobody asks a question, nobody inquired, nobody, whose phone is this, where you get this from? Because you have a responsibility as a parent or guardian to ask. Then yes, we would take you to the station and we would all take statements and do interview notes. And if we need further counseling or advice as to who should be charged, we would do that. However, it's different from if it's found in a location, let's say a bedroom that a son or a daughter alone has access to. And they're in a position where, using some sarcasm, that the child is in charge of the parent. So the child have a key and locks his room when he goes out in the house, and it's found there. And that individual alone has access to the room, then they would want to take that individual there because they would recognize that the others don't have the information. However, if, let me put it in a drug scenario where there is 10 kilos of marijuana on the center table, everybody going down for the possession for the purpose of trafficking, because the smell, number one, so the act is there, and the guilty mind of you knowing that that is an illegal substance, illegal quantum, you're going down.
Okay.
So if you do nothing, and knowing it's there, that you would definitely be held accountable. The
scenario with the robbery, you said someone is the driver, someone is the shooter.
Just the lookout, yeah.
Shooter goes in, he used excessive force. Worst case scenario, God forbid, he pull the trigger, commit a crime, somebody is either badly wounded or deceased. Everyone in the car will be slapped with a murder charge? Or attempted murder?
Everybody who is there, there's a possibility.
Even if a man just drive and he'd never pull the trigger?
Even if a man just drive. That is where we talk about joint enterprises. joint enterprise, and criminality. No, let me tell you something. Let me put it a little further. Persons could also be responsible, even when you're looking at actions before the act.
So, I mean, the planning.
So being an accessory before the act, what is that? You may be working in a particular institution, and on that day, well, you told your criminal friends how to access, where the safe is, the code for the safe.
They sell information.
You, even though you didn't go, let's say you take a sick leave on that day, but the fact that you gave that information to assist, you are held culpable.
You put the wheels in motion.
Definitely, so you are assisted in that way. If after you or the person decide, I am, all right, you didn't go, you was nowhere there, but you decide, bring the hot item by me, my house is the stash house, you have a part to play as well.
So when there are incidents, let's say in a financial institution, like we heard recently a minister talking about leaving the bank back last break, 10,000 and other valuable items stolen. Is it that when an investigation takes place for a scenario like that, and not just because he's a minister, I would imagine anybody, I would hope, would get the same courtesy, does that investigation go straight to the
banking source and stuff like that?
Bank and everybody associated with that particular space?
I would tell you, yes, Mr. Williams. So much so that as a result of situations and these kind of experiences happening to persons, there are some banks who have adopted a policy that persons at the teller cannot use their cellular devices whilst working at the teller to help minimize situation like that. But where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there is a way.
Well, my question now is, because I know in Jamaica you can't use your phone, even the customer, because there's nothing for somebody to say, hey, look him there, I'm in khaki, already in a brown boots.
Or somebody just sitting in the bank and just looking.
And you know, they could be spotting, and as you walk out, they sell information to somebody outside, so they know you now withdraw.
Yeah, that and all is possible. That and all is possible, because we want to know, we really wonder at times, how you choose to target that person. And that incident is not really foreign to us. It has happened. A gentleman recently, Christmas last year, and he said he actually saw the vehicle following his vehicle, but he thought nothing of it. And that's why we tell you, trust your gut. If you're getting that feeling, don't ignore it. And he said in 3 minutes, and he parked in a car park of an establishment along the Arpita Avenue, a car park that had security. But where he parked, the security could not have seen the vehicle. He said 3 minutes. The person who smashed the glass, they injured themselves because there was blood on the vehicle. 3 minutes, snatch and grab. So when we tell people, try to encourage cashless transaction or minimize the cash, we're talking from a point of experience and trying to keep that person safe. Some persons may even be like, for instance, you go on the crime and you are the lookout. Just the lookout. Not even the getaway driver, just the lookout.
You're speaking to well-coordinated and strategic targeted robberies and I would imagine criminal enterprise. It seems that lots of what's happening is based on intelligence, and it's based on a coordinated plan of action, a blueprint, as it were, for criminals to execute. So it doesn't seem spontaneous, as some might think. It seems like it's almost a well-structured enterprise, a well-oiled machinery.
Yeah, it is a well-oiled machinery, and that's why we ask for the public's help in crime and helping us solve crimes. So, like, for instance, you may see people park in a car park in the vicinity of a teller, and you might think the police targeting you. We're looking out for your safety, one, and we want to ensure that there is nobody in another vehicle next to you waiting to see when you go in to follow you and to try to rob you and stuff like that. So persons may think that the police picking on them. No, we look at crime patterns and crime trends, and that's where our statistics and our intelligence. When we talk about intelligence-led policing, there is a street corner, when you look at the corner of Park and Henry, there are 2 banks there. Look at there's a bank in Trinidad City. Well, I see that they tinted the glass now, but the glass was clear. And we like to put plenty glass.
Yeah. I mean, it's an important conversation. Important conversation. Let me ask you about the mastermind, as it were, the mastermind of any crime. One, how do you all prove? Is it that people would via an investigation, questioning, people will speak to the mastermind? Because that, I would imagine, also falls in the conversation of aiding and abetting parties to crime. That
Yes.
he wasn't there, he wasn't in the car, he didn't drive, he didn't shoot, but you plan it out.
Yeah, plan it out, and you're just as culpable if you plan it out. But how we operate is in situations like that, we would separate everyone, and then we would start our interviews, put the facts together, look at CCTV footage, interview witnesses, interview persons to see, because it might be this person didn't come inside, but he was standing at the door. This person is the one who held me down, but this person took the money out of my pocket. And stuff like that, so you really get to piece it back. It's like solving a puzzle, and you put it back together, and then you charge jointly going down the road, or you may, based on the advice of the Director of Public Prosecution or your legal officer attached to your division, he may tell you, prefer this charge against this one and that charge against that one, but everybody who played a part will be charged.
You don't even know why people still allow themselves to feel there is any kind of honor in that kind of activity, because I've seen time and time again when thieves especially are cornered. If 3 people went in and let's say one is injured, one is shot, it's not like in the military where you pick up your wounded soldier. I've seen where people leave the partner and gone.
All the time.
No honor. And I say, oh my goodness, your plan, you all had this big blueprint and you went in, it did not work out the way the way you had it in your mind, and there is no, who will sell out the partner for less than a shilling, and who will leave a bleeding colleague there.
Right there. Remember, they want to get away, and the element of surprise is something they always think that they have the upper hand on you. But let me carry it even further. Vigilante justice.
Oh gosh, well,
because you would see in communities where,
that wheelbarrow was brutal, boy, Russell.
They held that thief and they beat the thief.
Listen, and
that thief falls down there and dies. We are investigating a murder.
Well, I know you all will have to, right? But the reality is, and this is where I'm not defending any kind of outer time and action by the officers, because you all are trained and there should be a line you don't cross. But I've seen where we, the population, become so frustrated, we are so wary of crime and criminality, that when a community gets the upper hand, Officer Russell, it's almost like every injustice that was meted out to you in your lifetime, from the little boy who thief your pencil in primary school to the person who take your hubcap, you tend to look at that. This person becomes the representation of every injustice, and the kind of softening and the kind of licks and the statement like guana and thing, I see the wheelbarrow man to the St. Joseph Police Station.
I saw the wheelbarrow as well.
And it's almost like the criminal element are actually happy when the TTPS shows up, because they realize that, okay, this sufferation, this brutality is coming to an end. What's your advice for vigilante, for those the community who gets the upper hand?
I am telling the community,
because you see, it's coming from a place of frustration, Russell.
As soon as you subdue the person, please call the police. Call the police even before, because I will tell you, the use of excessive force is a problem. And if that person dies at the hand of the community, it's not just the man who struck the blow that killed him, but everybody who would have contributed. Because if it's a group beating, and that is where gang and all these things come into play. If it's a group, how will we know who strike the blow that killed the gentleman?
But you understand where it's coming from. It's coming from a place of frustration.
Yeah, but you see, we have to look at it. We can't just take out our frustration on that one person like that. We always have to be mindful that, and there's another part of it, because that ends in court, because the police now have to come, take him to seek medical attention, post a guard, and then charge him.
Let me ask you before we wrap things up. I'm hearing talk of a new police unit. Could you elaborate? Is that official news?
Which new police unit is that?
Some new unit. I saw it in a new cycle.
I know we have recently introduced a home invasion and extortion unit.
I think that's the unit, right?
Yes, we have indeed introduced.
So that's a strategic.
Yes, and we are doing plenty of things to combat crime and criminality. You see, we launched our program, the Active Directed Patrol as well. including members of the transit police and giving them a particular area to cover off the bus route as well. You know, so we are doing things, and we want to go back to some eyes in the skies. The commissioner will elaborate more on that in the near future, where we would be having certain things to really help curb crime and criminality and to increase our solvability rate, which we know we have some issues with, but we are doing things.
Well, ACP Russell, as always, sincere thanks. Great conversation. We will expand some more next week, God spare, inside what we call every week the Police and You segment. It's the police, you, it's me, it's all of us, hand in hand to bring the country back to a place of normalcy. Up next, Mental Health Matters. We take you to 7:30. At 7:30, Ian Wason with the Morning Shot.